First of all, I begin this morning with a formal announcement, as it were. This week I received the official decree from the Diocese of Sioux City merging St. Joseph Parish in Hartley, which includes St. Anthony Church in Primghar, into Sacred Heart Parish. This merger becomes official on July 1st. As I've said before, this is largely an administrative change. You will not see much effect from the merger in the day-to-day life of the churches. In the coming year, we will merge the finances of the churches into Sacred Heart Parish, and more information will come about that as that process begins to unfold. As far as the decree is 3 pages long. The bishop said you can read it at Mass or you can summarize it. The full text will be in the Lumen this week. So in the diocesan newspaper, which will be one of the last issues that will be actually on paper, but you can see the text, and you can always get the Lumen online now to keep up with the latest news in the diocese and in the Catholic world. If you have questions about any of this process, just feel free to contact me, and I'd be happy to visit with you and answer questions as best as I am able. I have to say that there's something a bit unusual in this year's readings for this solemnity of the body and blood of Jesus. To me, it's quite clear that the readings focus on the theme of covenant blood. The background for the readings is the recognition that ancient peoples often sealed a covenant with the blood of ritually sacrificed animals. If you were to go back to ancient times, you'd probably be surprised by the widespread practice of animal sacrifices. Most of us have probably never watched the slaughter of animals taking place, but it was really a common practice in the ancient world, especially in the religious realm, and maybe most especially in the Jewish tradition. Why? Well, in the Bible, they believed that the blood carried life itself, that it was the blood that carried God's breath of life, that animated the first human person and all breathing beings. Therefore, to offer blood is to offer life. In other words, it's to offer our very essence, our very selves, as part of what is taking place. Now, we hear a very graphic description of all of this in the first reading. God, through Moses, has just presented the people with his commandments and the new covenant with his people. Now they, God and the people, are preparing to seal this covenant that they are making together. So Moses has young bulls slaughtered and offered in sacrifice. Then he takes half the blood and pours it out around the altar. And then he takes the other half of the blood and sprinkles it on the people. This ritual was seen as kind of an exchange of life. The lifeblood of God and the lifeblood of the people are becoming intermixed. like becoming blood brothers and blood sisters. It's a permanent bond between those who are entering into covenant. Now, this event with Moses sets the tone for much of the Jewish liturgical life of the following centuries. After the temple is built by King Solomon, for hundreds of years, these animal sacrifices are carried out as a sign of the covenant relationship. They actually said about the Jewish temple that you could smell it before you saw it. As you would approach Jerusalem, you could smell the animals being offered in sacrifice and the blood that was constantly being poured out around the altar and upon the people. So now we come to the second reading, where St. Paul very carefully explains that Jesus has now sealed the new covenant with his own blood. Through this sacrifice of himself once for all, Jesus, thankfully, put an end to all these animal sacrifices. By offering his blood, he has made the eternal offering for the expiation of sin. And with that background, we look at today's gospel, which details specifically how Jesus converted this ancient ritual of animal sacrifices into the gift of a sacrament for us to receive. So now, instead of the blood of bulls or lambs, Jesus offered his own body and blood. And instead of sprinkling us with that blood, Jesus puts himself into our hands as food and drink. He says, "Take, eat. This is my body. Take and drink. This is the blood of the new covenant. Do this in memory of me." So again, what's going on here? It's an exchange of life. The lifeblood of God and the lifeblood of the people are becoming intermixed, like us becoming blood brothers and blood sisters with God. God's offering of self and our offering of self is a permanent bond between those entering into this new covenant. Today, as we hear again these words of Jesus at the Last Supper, both in the gospel passage and in the Eucharistic prayer, may you and I not only have the devotion to the Eucharist, but may we renew ourselves in the covenant to which we are called and for which the Eucharist nourishes us. After all, we receive this gift from the Lord, who did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom, a blood offering for the many.